Hello, everyone. How's it going? Welcome back to a bonus episode of Chapter 1 and Beyond. I'm Christina, and today is going to be kind of like a June wrap up, July TBR, and a reading bingo progress type thing. Regardless, it's going to be including a bunch of books that I either read or want to read, or, you know, the basis, so, yeah, if you're someone who loves tracking reading goals or needs some TBR inspiration, this one's definitely going to be for you. So let's get into it. Okay, so first things first, the June wrap up. So originally, what I had on my June TBR was Damsel by Evelyn Sky. I had Bravely by Maggie Stiefvater, I believe. Steph Vader. But Stiefvater. Um, and then I had Trust in the Emerald Sea by Brandon Sanderson, Phantasma by Kaylee Smith, Straight On Till Morning by Liz Braswell, I believe. Briswell. And then my pick for reading to the kids was The Wild Robot Escapes. Out of all those books, yeah, I think out of all those books, I only read one, which was Phantasma by Kaylee Smith. The other books, I did manage to read 6 books in total in June. Some of them were audiobooks, and then some of them were physical reads. I did manage to get Watermoon. I do have a bonus episode that unfortunately does contain some spoilers, but I have my full thoughts on the Watermoon book. I absolutely love that book. It was definitely through and through a 5-star read for me. Phantasma by Kaylee Smith. Oh my gosh. I didn't know much about this book when I first picked it up. I just thought the cover was absolutely gorgeous. And everyone kept ranting and raving about they kind of told me it was like this Hunger Games for like undead or something like that. But honestly, for me, like Phantasma reminded me a lot of um, it's actually kind of funny, but it kind of reminded me of like Saw, and uh, yeah, it kind of reminded me of Saw for some odd reason. I don't know if you've seen that horror movie, but it really reminded me of that. There was some pretty gory parts, and I will warn you, there was some extreme spice in this one. So, but I really liked it. I definitely kept turning the page. I was supposed to buddy read with my friend, and that didn't happen because I just could not put this book down. Um, but yeah, definitely would say if you're into like gothic romantasy type books, that one definitely is good. And you should probably go into it not knowing much because that's what made it all the better, at least for my reading experience. It was great not knowing anything about going into the book, and only knowing that it was kind of like a Saw or Hunger Games type book. But the next book that I had read was A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson, and oh my gosh. Okay, so I know this is going to be very, very unpopular opinion, but I absolutely hated this book. I absolutely hated the book because I have this tendency of like getting into these mystery type, thriller type books, and it's like, okay, give me this possibility that it's this character, and oh my gosh, like what if it's this person, and like it's kind of like this whole like narrator is like just kind of dragging you through the woods, and and you're just trying to figure out like how this story is still progressing, yet you're being introduced to all these different people, and like now there's accusations, and I just I personally absolutely hate that about mystery books that do that, just because it's like, if you have a solid plot for me and you can draw me in like to just unraveling what happened to this person, that's enough for me. I don't need to like know back end like background with some of these people, and like how we're skeptic of this person now, and it's like I don't need a lot of grave detail. And it felt like it kind of reminded me a lot of Middle of the Night from Riley Sager, which I guess hand in hand, I did like that book in some ways, but I also felt like it dragged in other ways. So, but like A Good Girl's Guide to Murder was about this senior in high school, and it's a very popular like recommendation. Like people like tell me if you read Truly Devious or if you liked Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, you should definitely check out Good Girl's Guide to Murder. And I will say, I was definitely turning pages. I was definitely invested, but like when we got to the ending, I was like, I predicted it. I knew exactly who was going to get accused. Like, there was just all these little, like, quark drops of detail that, I know that the author was going to try to, like, shimmy it under the rug, but I knew, like, kind of going through it, I was like, yeah, this is just like, what I thought it was going to be. Like, Frida McFadden does very similar, and I guess that's another author that I can just absolutely say that it just infuriates me, because I just can't stand when authors do that. Like, they just like kind of like, oh, it's this person, no, it's this person, no, it's this person, no, they are totally, like, suspicious. And I'm like, why do you got to keep pointing fingers? Why can't we just like kind of go through it? But and then some of the actions that the main character Pip did, I was like, realistically, there would be no way this girl would get away with half the stuff that she did. So, like, all power to you. You solved it, but you know, you're like, you yourself are like breaking all these rules and all these laws, and I was just like, this is not realistic, nor should it be. But I was just like, you know, I guess from the lens, like, if you're trying to solve someone's murder, or trying to solve a mystery, you know, like, deep down, like, you should do it in legal way, and yes, you dig for information and try to solve it on your own. But like, I just, the fact that they had introduced like breaking and entering and stuff like that, I'm like, oh, this is supposed to be for YA. Like, this is not really great, role modeling or inspiration, I guess, if you will. But I don't know. I just was not a fan of it. I gave it 2 stars, only because like I did like continue to flip through the pages, but because for me I was able to predict the ending, and sure, it definitely was a page turner, and like I was really rooting for the main character Pip in this one. But man, that ending just pissed me off so bad. Just like Frida McFadden. But okay, so the next book that I finished, this was an audiobook read for me. It was called An Arrow to the Moon by Emily XR Pan. um I was told that this was like a Romeo and Juliet retelling, but with Chinese mythology, and I was like, interesting. It definitely was, and it was actually pretty good. I have to say though, like, when it comes to like traditional Romeo and Juliet, like, the one and only can do it in its own way. And then like anybody that kind of like tries to do a retelling of Romeo and Juliet, there's not really much uniqueness that you can do. But I appreciated this book because of the Chinese mythology that was in it. It was a little hard for me to follow along an audiobook, and I probably will revisit this book in the future and do like an actual physical read. I just feel like, honestly, for me, it was like dragging in a lot of parts, and it really, I mean, it allowed me to focus on my code work, but at the same time, too, just wasn't, I guess I just probably wasn't in the mood for it. So, but I did finish that one. I also finished Small Angels by Lauren Owen. This one, on audiobook was absolutely fantastic. I really liked this audiobook, and I definitely recommend picking this one up if you are looking for an audiobook, just be only because of the fact that like there's the eeriness, and it really drew me in, and I like really appreciated this one because like it was more of like about a small village and like a family generational curse, if you will. And it was really really good. Like the different characters that were introduced like within the family and everything, I definitely hands down loved it. Like definitely recommend. The less you know, the better. Just because like I personally went in knowing nothing about this book besides the generational curse thing. Um, and honestly, hands down, so good. Like the eeriness, the build, the story, the whole bit, just absolutely fantastic. And I think honestly, I would probably have a different experience if I physically read it. Um, the audiobook kind of gave me like that whole level of like atmospheric like experience of it, I guess. Just because of like some of like the background like tuning and noises and things like that that were on the audiobook. At least the version that I picked up from Libby. But and then the final audiobook that I had picked up in June was called The Exiles by Christina Baker Klein. This is a historical fiction. It was based off of like prisoners from I believe Britain, like UK. They're exiled and transported to like a section in Australia, and like these women are shipped over to Australia, and they're serving their time and everything, and just like the rawness of what these women went through, it was heartbreaking. Like the fact that some of these women were pregnant, and like the awful atrocious things that these people did to them, it was just gut wrenching. And like listening to this on audiobook just made it like all the more better of an experience, I guess, for me, just because like the narrator that did the audiobook, she would like kind of express the different characters in other ways, and it just made the experience that much more enjoyable. Like you really start rooting for like the prisoners and everything, and like just like the whole timeline, it was like between like the 1830s and 1840s. So like you really got a glimpse into like that time period in Australia, in like the grueling temperatures and like the grueling atmosphere and like living conditions that these people are in. Is just like it was really good. I definitely recommend it. So but that is it for the June wrap up. What I have lined up for July. Actually, scratch that. Let's actually go to my progress board on my bingo card, because I think this kind of goes hand in hand, and then we'll get into my July TBR lineup. But so I had created, like I had mentioned in previous episodes, I created this bingo board just because like on top of all like the customizable month lists that I have, I also do like fun little bingo cards. I have a TBR jar. I just do what I need to do, like, because I'm very much a mood reader, but sometimes, like, I don't know what I'm in the mood for, and I just need that random pick. So yeah, I created a bingo board, and so far I have Phantasma knocked out of the park on that one. The Exiles, I was able to scratch off as well. I was able to scratch off A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, and obviously Watermoon. And then I actually have started recently reading Rebecca. So I did like kind of half scratch that off for right now, just because like I'm in progress and I'm really enjoying that one. So I would definitely say like if we're kind of going hand in hand with the July TBR, Rebecca is definitely on that list. But yeah, I mean, I was able to X off like maybe three more spots, four spots. I'm very close to hitting a single bingo. I have like two spots left. I have the Wild Huntress and Ordinary Monsters if I'm gonna hit diagonally. Um, or if I read what is it? Bravely, The Mars Room, and Inkblood Sister Scribe, I can get diagonal the other way. But my goal is to black this whole bingo card out in order for me to say, hey, I'm done. But if you're curious on some of the other books that are on this list, maybe I could just read them off for you and then we can kind of go from there. But I have The Wild Huntress on here. I have The Poppy War, Babel, The Mars Room. Obviously, I have already scratched off like The Exiles, so that one's done. I also have Damsel on here, Phantasma, which is also scratched off, Straight On Till Morning, Bravely, Other Birds, The Witch's Heart. I believe I have that by, yeah, it's by Genevieve Gornichek. So I have that on my list on here too. Let's see, what else do I have? Never Let Me Go by I believe that's Kazu. Remember that author's name now. Oh, I have it over there. Kasu Ishigara? Gosh, I can't pronounce last names. I apologize. But I do have Never Let Me Go on there. I do have the Kristen Hanna book, Summer Island on there. Tiny Pretty Things. So this one has actually been on my shelf for God knows how long. It's probably been on my shelf for at least 3 years because I was really inspired like by like a little marathon that I was having with like Center Stage and Save the Last Dance and stuff. So like all of a sudden I was like finding all these books that were related to dance. So I was like, okay, why not, you know? So that one's on here. Heaven Breaker by Sarah Wolf is on here. A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, like I said, that one's already been crossed off. Trust in the Emerald Sea is on here. Ordinary Monsters. The Road of Bones. I'm really excited about this one just because of the fact that it's like Viking inspired. I'm really, really interested because I have books 1 and 2 of that series, which is like The Road of Bones, and it's by Demi Winters. And the second book in that series, I believe, is something the Kingdom of the Claw or Kingdom of Claw or something like that. I know that was recent too, so I'm hoping to do like kind of like a Viking esque inspired readathon in July. So maybe I can knock those out. Um, and then another dance one is called Bright Burning Stars. I also have Obsidian on here, Bookshops and Bone Dust. I'm really excited about that one because I hear it's like really atmospheric. It's by Travis Baldry, I believe. I don't have Legends and Lattes I think that's his other book, but I'm hoping to get that. But obviously, my goal is to ultimately get all of my physical reads out of the way before I continue down the rabbit hole of buying more books. So, all right. So, I know I'm flying through these segments, but if there is any books that I mention, please let me know. I know like there's been quite a bit of listeners and I appreciate you guys all so much. Normally I don't ask this, but if you can like leave a comment, like if you're following along with YouTube or wherever you get in your podcasts, like I would love to hear from you guys. I know that the Discord channel, the Discord server that I have, no one's really joined it, but I have a feeling with how I'm publishing these episodes, you guys probably aren't getting the actual link. So I'm going to work on getting my podcast website up so that you can reference that. It'll be easier to reference in these episodes going forward, but I would love to hear from you guys. If you're on hardcover, I am on hardcover. Hardcover app. That's a book tracking website and mobile app. But yeah, I mean, I would love to hear from you guys because I'm really curious on what you guys are reading, what you guys read in June as well. So, but going into July, I personally have been kind of going off of this bingo card that I have, but also kind of mood reading too. And well, I was like really looking at my remainder of like 2025 list and looking at, you know, what my friends recommended and such. And I think like honestly, I have a pretty solid list. two of the picks I think I'm gonna do randomly live on this recording with you for my TBR jar. Just kind of change it up a little bit. So, but yeah, I mean, like how I usually pick my month books is sometimes I'll do like a list, but sometimes I'll also just kind of mood read through or use my TBR jar. Last month I definitely tried to use a theme. That didn't work out so great because looking at my physical list that I had, I only finished Phantasma, which it's okay. A book got read. I finished 6 books in 1 month, so I can't knack myself for that. So I know in previous months I've definitely read a heck of a lot more than that. I mean, like looking back into May, um, you know, I think honestly there was 6 books even in there, but let's take a look. I'm just really curious. Okay, I finally got it to load up. Yeah, so in May I finished 8 books, and then in April it looks like I had even more than that. Yeah, I had 8 book April too. So I mean, so far like this year, like I've definitely been able to keep up. Like I had 5 in March. I mean, like I've been averaging a pretty good amount. Like I know in previous years though, I've been really struggling with like getting the reading in like the first half of the year, which I believe I did mention in my previous episode with like my mid-year check-in and stuff like that. But so yeah, I mean like pretty much how I'm kind of doing my July TBR is I'm kind of going off of my bingo card, looking at my TBR cart over here, because I really am just trying to wrap up like what I had picked from hardcover for 2025, and then kind of going from there. So the first one that's on my list, and actually I had this physically on my TBR from May, which is kind of funny because I never got around to it, but it's honestly for me like the size of this book that intimidates me a lot. But I've been hearing really great things. It's like a dark academia like fantasy book. It's called Babel by R.F. Kuang. Um, and I've heard really amazing things about it. I've been hearing so many people recommend this. It's been on my shelf and it really has to get done. So I definitely have that one on my list. I have another one from R.F. Kuang, which this is very rare when I pick like an author, like 2 different books with the same author in one month. But we'll see how this goes. But I also want to pick up the Poppy War, which I've been hearing is like epic and it's like adventurous and there's battles and there's, politics and all that stuff. So I'm like really excited about that one. So I'm hoping that those that recommended RF Quang to me, I really hope that it lives up to the hype because I'm gonna be so disappointed if I don't know if I should read the Poppy War first or if I should read Babel. Like I feel like honestly it would be safer to go with Poppy War because that's shorter. But then I've been hearing so many incredible things about Babel that I'm like, I probably should pick that one up first. I don't know. I guess we'll see how it goes. Like right now, I'm reading Rebecca, by Daphne du Maurier. I wanted to try and get some of my classic reads out of the way, so I am reading through that. I'm also listening to In the Lives of Puppets by TJ Klune on audiobook. I'm really loving that book. It's like a sci-fi, but it's so funny. I will give you guys my full review once I get fully through it. I have never been once disappointed with a TJ Klune book. That's just me. But and I know he's kind of overhyped on TikTok and BookTube and things like that. But yeah, so I know I'm listening to that. I'm also kind of going back and forth between what is it? The Immortal Longing. I can't remember who wrote that. Oh, Chloe Gong. Duh, the book is really right here. Yeah, this was one of my book of the month picks. Totally like racked up a collection with that, but I've been hearing about how this is like kind of like they can shift into other bodies and stuff, and I was like, "Whoo, this is cool!" Like, I just thought it would be awesome. So So yeah, I'm listening to that one on audiobook, but I might go back and forth between physically reading it and listening to it on audiobook. I don't know, but so far I'm liking it. I'm about like only like 5% of the way in. Not even. I'm pretty sure I'm probably like not even 20 some pages in, but honestly for me, like I think if I can knock that one out in July, which happens to be my birthday month, that would be fun. So, and then another one that I would love to pick up is Heaven Breaker by Sarah Wolf. I've been kind of like repeatedly like saying, "Oh, I'm gonna read this book. I'm gonna read it," but no, I haven't read it yet. It is on my TBR list for July. It is a sci-fi fantasy book, and I have like the edition that has like the sprayed edges and stuff. I got all fancy with it. But like when I found out there was like mechs and there's like a magic system, and I'm like sold. So I don't know if I would say it's like steampunk, but I was very intrigued when it had mentioned that there's a fantasy element and there's a sci-fi tech element to it. So it kind of reminded me of like that anime series Gundam Wing and Gundam Seed and things like that. I thought that like as soon as I heard that there were mechs in that series, like that book, I was like, "Yep, I'm sold. I want to read this as soon as possible." And of course, I've been distracted with other things like this weird obsession with finding books that are romanticities and actually liking them. So, um, so yeah, I mean, for me, honestly, I'm normally not a romance girly at all, and the fact that I liked Phantasma and I've been liking Akatar, I've taken a break from that series just because I just need to like kind of cool it. So, because I have like a quart of Silver Flames and then a quart of Frost and Starlight or something like that. I think those are the only two I have left. I don't think they're like I know she's gonna continue to expand that, but as soon as I heard that she was expanding it, I was like, okay, dead halt. I'm need to take a break and like revisit. I've been trying to find a way to like kind of track all the series that I'm in the middle of. I know I'm in the middle of a lot of series, and then there's a lot of series that I do own, but I haven't started yet. I have a lot of duologies too, and I'm like, oh, I don't want to start another series, so that's why I've been like kind of like on the fence with these last couple picks for my July TBR. But I'm gonna be honest with you, I think I'm gonna kind of move to the handy dandy TBR jar here, and hopefully I've updated this enough so that I don't pick something that I've already gotten or read. But let's see. All right, so the first one that I got here, let's see. No, can't go with that one because that's not on my physical. Yeah, there's like some books that I put in here. I put like reading prompts in this. I put some prompts and then some library picks, but since I've kind of given myself the the red flag, kind of like a blocker, if you will, of going to the library until I get my physical books read. It kind of makes that difficult. So let's just, otherwise this is all a flop. Trust in the Emerald Sea by Brandon Sanderson. Dang it. Okay. Well, I guess I am going to be reading that one in July now. So, all right. Trust in the Emerald Sea. So this is one of his secret project books. Been hearing really good things about it. I love Brandon Sanderson's storytelling, but some of the content that I've been reading from I think it was like Stormlight Archive series. I had to take a break from that one because I was like, this is so large and so big, and I'm like, I can't keep reading through this. So, but yeah, Trust in the Emerald Sea. It looks like it's a definitely lighter book than Stormlight Archive series. So that one will be added to my list. I know really not much about it other than it is a secret project book that he wrote for his wife, I guess. So, all right, let's see. Maybe do like a few more because like I like to have kind of a list because if I can pick them up on audiobook, yay for me. So, all All right, let's see. What else do we got? Oh, I got a prompt this time. Oh, wait. Yeah, I got a prompt this time. All right, let's see what the prompt is. Read a book with a landscape on the cover. Okay. Well, I think the rule for this one is gonna be I only get to look on my TBR cart here. Let's see here. Landscape. Oh, Alice Feeney's Beautiful Ugly is in the contending for that. Landscape. That's a bird. Oh, here we go. Stephen King's Pet Cemetery. There's like a landscape of a guy walking out of a grave site. I don't know. Know nothing about this Stephen King book, but hey, it looks creepy in itself. Road of Bones, definitely not a pick. That one doesn't have a landscape. I'm so bummed. I wanted to put Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, but that's not gonna fit with this prompt. Let's see. Mars Room. Yeah, no, it doesn't have landscape on it. This one just has a galaxy looking background. Um, I guess Penitence, Penitenc by Kristen Koval. That one's got like a landscape of snow and trees, so maybe we could put that in the contending. Let's see, is there anything else? Honestly, I don't want to keep adding to my list because then it's just going to make that so much harder for me. Um, I think I'm just going to go with those three for right now. Let's see. So which one should I go with? I mean, since I have like a lot of like, let's see. I have Dark Academia, I have fantasy sci-fi. I don't have anything in the horror section, so why don't I do as much as I do want to like kind of visit Alice Feeney, I just never really had an experience with her books yet. And then Kristen Koval, I haven't really had an experience with her either. She was like the February 2025 pick for Book of the Month. So I think I'm going to go with the Stephen King's Pet Cemetery. I've been hearing really good things about this one. I heard this one's like absolutely terrifying. I have read Carrie, and I've like listened to on audiobook like the Shining, but I wasn't really a fan of it. I kind of got bored with it, to be quite honest. I loved the movie; it was super creepy. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I'll just give this a whirl too. And then, okay, so let's see. I have. Okay, sorry about that. Having some audio issues, but okay. So I think I was just wrapping up my July TBR. Sorry if this episode has this blip, but okay. So on my list I have Babel by R.F. Kuang, The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang, Heaven Breaker by Sarah Wolf. I have Mortal Longings on audiobook by Chloe Gong. I have Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. I also have In the Lives of Puppets by TJ Klune that I'm listening to on audiobook. And let's see, Trust in the Emerald Sea by Brandon Sanderson was my pick for the TBR jar. And then the prompt that I had fulfilled for read a book with a landscape on the cover is The Pet Cemetery by Stephen King. So I realize though that's 8 books for me, but I never picked anything out to read to my kiddos. And I'm trying to think of what's on my shelf that I could read to my kiddos. Let's see. Hang on. Okay, I think I have it narrowed down. So it's been a hot minute since I've read any of my Harry Potter books, and honestly, I got these Minalima books, the books 1, 2, and 3 that were published by Minalima, but I've actually never read through them. Um, I knew absolutely that I had to collect them, so I do have them on my shelf. I have read through the whole series. I have not read The Cursed Child though. But I have read the screenplays and I've read Beetle the Bard and Quidditch Through the Ages. I've read all those. So I think honestly, since I've already read the Sorcerer's Stone to my kiddos, maybe it might make sense to do the Minalima version of Chamber of Secrets. That's an option. Um, I thought about a good old classic of Around the World in 80 Days by Jules Verne. That would help not only knock out my classic read, but it would also kind of knock out another one off of my TBR cart. Let's see, A Call to the Wild. Call of the Wild? Which one's this? Jack London. I don't know if this one's gonna be like kid appropriate though. I'd have to look into that. Honestly though, I'm trying to stick with like just like kid friendly ish picks. I could pick Aragon too, but dang it, that's starting another series. What to do, what to do, what to do. I think like the safest bet would be to do Chamber of Secrets. Yeah, I think I'm gonna do Chamber of Secrets with Minalima. But yeah, book is by J.K. Rowling. Everyone pretty much knows that unless you have never been exposed to the Harry Potter series, which brace yourself on this podcast. I will probably do a ton of referencing to Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter. So I'm absolutely obsessed with those two series. But yeah, so I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do Chamber of Secrets, the Minalima version, and then my 8 picks for July. But yeah, so we covered a lot. I know this episode is probably going to be kind of lengthy, but that wraps up this little bonus episode. Whether you're checking off bingo squares like I am, or just trying to read something between summer plans, I hope your July read is full of surprises and joy as well. Don't forget to follow the podcast. I appreciate and love that people are actually listening to my crazy little project. I never thought I'd even see a single listener on there. So I very much appreciate you guys and the support that you're giving to my podcast. I would love to talk to you. I would love to learn about like what you do for your reads every month. I would love to learn what books you read in June, July. So let's try to figure out a way to make it happen and build this community up. So, but yeah. Until next time, happy reading, guys. Later.